Very well, now let's take a look at what we have on our front page, on the front pages of our local dailies here, and I have the Star newspaper as well as Daily Nation actually handling for Jen, who is out today, but she'll be here with us tomorrow. All right, so on the Star, DP Ruto to Uhuru. Do not tell lies about me. That's what's on the front page of the Star. DP Ruto to Uhuru, do not tell lies about me. President told Kikuyu elders that his deputy hatched a plot to get him out of office. That's what's on the front page of the Star newspaper. Kenyatta's 7-point plan for Raila victory. You can also take a look at that story. Now, DP Ruto terms AZIMIO La Umoja team liars, trying to profile him against Kenyans. That is what's on the front page. And of course, excuse me, the DP says that, please, spare Kenyans your lies. DP Ruto tells Kenyatta, he says that the person who attempted to topple government is Raila. It's quite a story here because, one, the deputy president now, actually the president said that during 2017, Uhuru president said during his meeting with over 3,000 delegates from Mount Kenya, and I quote, Mathira MP Peter Kimari, who was part of the delegation, said that Uhuru told them that Ruto worked behind his back and approached ODM boss Raila Odinga so they could agree on an impeachment scheme. Now, Uhuru told the elders that Ruto wanted Raila arrested and prosecuted after he was sworn in as quote-unquote people president in January 2018. Uhuru told the delegation was encouraging opposition protests in 2017. But Ruto yesterday said that Uhuru's revelations were baseless and propagandist. Okay. We'll discuss this one later on. There's a story here of worker boiled to death in horror steel plant accident. Body reduced to liquid. Not a single piece of him could be traced in thicker tragedy. It said that Caleb Otieno, 34 years old, was boiled to death after he reportedly slipped and fell into a boiler at a factory on Friday. Otieno, a second-born in the family, had worked in the farm's boilers section for the last 7 years. But his sudden tragic end left co-workers and members of his family shell-shocked and actually street trying to come to terms what's there. Very quickly, on to the front page of the Daily Nation here. Storm over Uhuru impeachment claims. Now, the first law of power dictates that you should never try to outsmart your boss. So did William Ruto go against the rule book? The president's shocking revelation on Saturday that his deputy wanted to wrest him out of power was yesterday met with a mixture of distress and dismay, with the deputy president terming Kenyatta's allegation shameful and propagandist. That's what's also captured on the front page. And of course, that story of Otieno, who died on Friday, also captured on the front page of the Daily Nation. Very quickly, yes. There's that story here of stop the propaganda. Ruto tells Uhuru over impeachment claims. Deputy president maintains that the breakdown of his relationship with the head of state was due to the handshake. So who is speaking the truth? Finally, Ruto rips big as Jubilee ANC bleed. Politicians had up to Saturday to switch parties before the August general election. So at least 125 elected leaders, including governors, joined UDA, with most of them coming from Jubilee. Mr. Raila Odinga's ODM and Democratic Action Party Kenya of Defense Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa also benefited from the hemorrhage in their Amani National Congress and Ford Kenya in Western. And of course, Raila Odinga is still in Western Kenya, popularizing his AZIMIO La Umoja movement ahead of August general election. Doreen?
Great question there, Victor. Who is speaking the truth? Who really should we trust? And obviously, we would have that story also on the PD this morning. And the Deputy President is saying that even if you do not like me, even if you do not want to help me, it's not a time for propaganda and divisive politics. Obviously, going by that, or better still, by those sentiments that were made by the President while speaking to Kikuyu leaders over the weekend in respect to that impeachment scheme that apparently the President said that the deputy had hatched, while, of course, that time, you know, in power, and obviously that time when clearly things really began to go south between these two individuals, that is the president and the deputy president. So even as that is happening, we have the DP's diary, whereby he is expected to conclude his 3-day tour at the coast, that is today, as he is expected to be in Kwale County and also being hosted by Salim Vuria, who's the governor of that particular county. And he also promised, while still at the coast, to rebuild the tourism sector, knowing fully well that this is one of those biggest economic gains when it comes to the coastal region and what it sets to bring to the country. And also tough decisions Raila must make before elections, whereby, just going by the writer on this particular article says that this is not a time where you'd wish to be the former Prime Minister, that is Raila Odinga, obviously citing the fact that he now has new friends, or if you may, new allies, and sort of trying to strike a balance when it comes to interest between his old tenacious friends and supporters and his new allies. And this is particularly when it comes to that running mate question and who he is going to choose, what factors he is going to consider, even as he is going to be going about choosing a running mate there. And also, of course, KCP exams results slated to either be released today or tomorrow, depending on the president's diary. And the two main bills that are likely to derail the budget speech, which is slated for April 7th, coming up at least 2 months early, as 2 months early in respect to how it normally comes. And some of those bills that perhaps might derail that speech include the division revenue bill as well as finance bill, whereby the House Business Committee says that it will be unconstitutional to present this speech if those two bills are not passed. And lastly, parties on the spot over gender rule. This is the 2/3 gender rule, where quite a number of female aspirants have expressed concern on the low numbers of female who have turned out for various positions or who have been appointed even just for various positions. And also those who are holding the different positions, a good number of them are citing the issue of harassment as well as frustration. So which way will it be, even as this 2/3 gender rule continues to be a mirage in this country? Regina.
Now, the front page of The Standard is similar to what you have in the various dailies, with that story about, impeaching the president, basically just, trying to get into, or rather delve to know what really happened between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto. That takes center stage on this particular daily. Then also we have matters of national importance when the government is expected to, or rather the Treasury is expected to be presenting its proposed budget for the financial year 2022-2023. We have unclaimed assets that have risen to 59.9 billion shillings. Now, this particular budget will be presented on April 7th. That is sometime next week. And there's been a lot of talk about who are going to be the key gainers in this particular fiscal paper, and the amount that the Treasury is seeking to spend in that particular financial year is 3.3 trillion shillings. Now, according to this particular daily, is that they have quoted 4 people. We have Ukuri Attorney, who is expected to present the budget on 7th of April. We have Uhuru Kenyatta, who is seeking to cement his legacy and finish the projects. Among the projects is the universal healthcare that we saw launched in the coast early this year. And we also have other big 4 agendas, including affordable housing, aspiring food security and manufacturing. Raila, on the other hand, has been quoted saying he's expected to continue Uhuru's legacy and fund the poor. Remember, we've been in the campaign trail. We've been hearing various candidates coming up with what they will do once they ascend to power come August 9th. On the other hand, we have William Ruto, whose allies have proposed changes in the allocation. So this is what we have on the front page, including now something that I'm sure is going to be tackled in our next conversation. And this is about matters politics. So ODM has refunded fees as it doles out direct tickets. This is bound to get some tongues wagging here. According to this particular scribe, he says, the party insists that there will be no nominations in seats where the popular aspirant is already known through an opinion poll. And They say that female MPs are the biggest winners in this particular decision. Just to give you a sneak peek is that according to this paper that they learned that top party officials are still pushing for negotiations among Nyanza and Coast aspirants to avoid competitive primaries. Kwa lugha ya mtaani kuangusha brand, you know, when all of you are popular, you actually split the vote and might end up losing and letting the competitor actually carry the day. Areas that are bound to be shaky, or other issues, we are looking at Mombasa and the coastal region, as well as Homa Bay. Other areas where negotiations are underway is Migori and Siaya. The party collected 500,000 for those who applied to run for the governor ticket, while those running for Senate and the National Assembly paid 250,000. On the other hand, county assembly hopefuls paid 50,000. Now, however, the figures were halved for female, youth, and people living with disabilities. The party also plans to hold its primaries between April 1st and April 21st. Now, according to the schedule provided by the party, it will conduct primaries in 21 counties out of the 47. The reasoning behind it is that it would give tickets to those who are popular by the poll to avoid, you know, a split competitive race, so to speak. I'm sure that is going to be addressed by a political analyst in not too long. Also, Ruto has denied the plan to impeach Uhuru and says claim is an attempt to discredit him. On the other hand, Ngereshi has been quoted here talking about, you know, her being ready and making peace with government and doing business. That's just but a sneak peek of what we have on the front page of this particular daily. Victor, to you.
So, to education matters, parents, 2021 KCP candidates in anxious wait for exam results. The results will be released this week by the Education CS George Magoha. They will either be released today or tomorrow before the focus shifts to placement of learners in secondary schools. Now, the marking, compilation, and analysis of KCP results was completed last week. So, the CS today or tomorrow will release the KCP examination results. And yes, let's just wait and see how that will pan out. And of course, many students are also anxious just to see what they did after 8 years in high school. Doreen, it was this moment, and Regina, that all of us went through.
Oh, yes. The anxiety.
The anxiety, the tenterhooks, you know.
The truth moment.
Tumbo joto.
Will I make it to my dream school?
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
What happens? Will my friends also make it? Will my greatest competitor also? Yani, I actually feel for the students.
What will my parents say depending on the results I get?
I feel
such
for
a-
the students.
Yeah.
I feel for the students and even the parents right now, because you're thinking, oh my God, we get the results, then we start the Form 1 hustle.
Yeah.
Remember, it has been quite a marathon for, you know, anyone who has a child who is attending school.
Attending
The
Form 1.
COVID-19 disruptions actually, no time to breathe.
Actually, there's no time to breathe for real, because you can imagine if you have maybe 2 kids, or you have got, you know, a child under your wings, you're taking care of. Over the weekend in the village, I had a chat with some lady who said that actually she wanted almost 100K just to admit a boy in school. So she was working to get 100K. She's not received the results yet, but her budget is 100K because, first of all, and that is a boy. You know, for ladies, it's completely different.
It's expensive.
It's expensive.
It's expensive, the education system.
Yeah.
Something has to give. Something has to give. And I saw a certain report that was saying that they are mushrooming schools, you know, to cater to the increase in demand, you know. You know, demand right now vis-a-vis what is already available. You find people coming up with schools to cater to a majority of Kenyans who, you know, basically cannot raise that sum of money that you have mentioned. So someone identifies that niche, comes up with a school, And for you, because that's what you can afford, I mean, you take them to school. But then there was the issue of, you know, CBC coming in to ensure this doesn't happen, where we move away from, you know, academic qualification and into skill-based kind of education. I hope this is going to bring some uniformity or equality of some sort amongst learners. But the way things are going, even with CBC, I don't know.
I mean, but even in respect to that, with CBC coming into play, just as you've well described it, Regina, it's all about trying to build skills to the students. There's actually an article here that says KCB results shouldn't condemn candidates. As we began this, short conversation, you were saying how it was a time of anxiety, particularly for students, and all because of the number of marks that student is going to get. Sort of like defines your future for a good number of them. But again, this is why we say it's not a question of life and death. You did your best. Because between today and tomorrow, depending on that present calendar, as the CS mentioned, as to when the results will be released, clearly even a good number of students will not even be eating. They're just sitting there waiting to actually see what marks have I bagged out of this exams. But it's not a matter of life and death.
Yeah, and to see what's happening on that note, because, the CES has been actually encouraging more students or even parents to take their students to the local schools, not schools of their choice, but then they'll try to encourage many schools even from the village level down there. You want to go to school X, but you're not able to get the school fees. So if your student is called maybe to school Y or X and you're not able to raise the school fee, perhaps just an advice that for you to get from one placement, make sure that you take them to the school that they've been invited to, all right, as you plan for either transfer later on, as you prepare yourself, because as it is, all pockets are dry. All pockets are dry. Okay. Out of some politics, ODM refunds nomination fee issues regret to party aspirants. ODM has actually embarked on refunding millions of nomination fees as it resorts to issuing direct tickets in select areas. Now, in the last 1 week, the party issued 10 direct certificates in at least 10 electoral areas, including 3 gubernatorial positions and 4 parliamentary seats. It has also been said that the party is employing a combination of methods, including opinion polls, ratings, and consensus to arrive at the most popular candidate for the ticket. But I think this is a good move because those eyeing woman representative post paid 125,000 shillings, while MCA aspirants paid 50,000 shillings and 25,000 shillings for youth. So when such thing happened, democratically speaking, I think it's a good move to refund, because 150,000 shillings or 250 for that matter is a big amount of money. All right.
Now, Victor, before you actually cross over,
yes.
What do you think, in as far as matters politics are concerned, and I'd want to look at like down in Mombasa, with the governor, the gubernatorial seat, or rather the governor's position.
Yes.
This issue of negotiations, we understand, are happening in Migori. As far as Migori is concerned, Homa Bay, Mombasa included. The negotiations, especially where candidates have been head to head, neck to neck. What do you think would be the likely outcome? And I'd also want you to engage your analysts on this, because I'm looking at Mombasa with particular interest, because we have Abdi Swamat there, and we also have Shabal.
Right.
Those are the two, to say the two horses. And
just to mention that all of them are, so to speak, close friends to the party leader. And they're active members of ODM party.
That is it.
So it puts ODM leader Raila Odinga in a straitjacket, between a rock and a hard place, because all these people are actively involved in the building of the party, popularizing the party in Mombasa and nationally speaking. And here you are, you only have one ticket to give, one certificate to give to the candidate. So what will happen is this. One, according to me, the party leader or the negotiation that you just mentioned will be based on the opinion polls, one. The consensus, which is also captured here under ODM, the system they are going to use. they're going to look at the performance of each candidate. That is number one. Two, they're going to look at the performance of the opposing or the opponent in that particular region. If I give a Shabal, what would be the probability of our opponent winning the election? You understand? And they're going to look at the records as well of the past general election and the graph. Has it grown? If the graph has not grown, or perhaps it grew at some point, it stagnated, and the other person also had an incline, at some point also had a decline in the opinion polls and the ratings in the growth of the graph, then certain things will have to give way. As I said, it's a tricky situation because if you look at Mombasa, Mombasa is, let me put it, heartbeat of ODM, of Honorable Raila Odinga for so many years. And whoever is going to win that post must bear the face of Raila Odinga, so to speak.
Let's also weigh in. Also, Homa Bay. We're going. Yes. We are ODM chairman John Badi and woman rep Gladys Wanga are expected to face it off for the nominations for governorship.
Yes.
Those are front runners for the to succeed Cyprian Awiti. That is bound to be something.
There are so many. My home county is a tricky one. And by the way, it says that Homa Bay County always. It's always a very slippery spot for Raila Odinga in every electoral cycle, because we have got Honorable Gladys Wanga there, we have got former MP Yugi Magwanga there, we have got former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero there, we have got Aisayo Gue, who is an official at the county again, we have got Mwalimu Akelo Misori.
Imagine, of course.
Right? We have got MP as well. So many of them. We have got almost 10 candidates eyeing the same political seat.
That is Homa Bay.
That is Homa Bay.
Now let's look at Siaya, where we have Senator James Orengo and former police spokesperson Charles Owino.
We have
former permanent secretary Kari Orege. My friend.
We also have Nicholas Gumbo, who is a former PAC in Parliament.
Oh God.
It's crowded. We have so many people in Siaya. The Luo Nyanza politics is tricky because it's perceived that it's an ODM stronghold.
Yeah.
And all the candidates are active members, again, of ODM party. We only have one ticket to give. So who is it good to?
The Luo Nyanza, just like the coastal region, always those areas that have been ODM stronghold. I mean, and is this why we are really also seeing on this particular daily, the scribe just saying that it is a tough time to be Raila Odinga? I mean, how can you also forget the new allies that he's actually getting at this time, and also trying to strike a balance in deciding or choosing who will go at it on which particular position? But then again, also, I think that in this season, we're really going to see a lot of that negotiated democracy. Just the other day, we saw in Kakamega County, the former senator backing down for the incumbent senator because of what? The fact that he's going to bring in more votes, or the fact that we do not want to just be all the time at loggerheads on who's going to carry the party ticket for this particular region. So I think even as we are looking at Raila Odinga in that particular respect, whether it's in respect to his tenacious supporters or his incoming allies, is the fact that let's just try and give the ticket to the one that really is going to bring more benefit to the party at this time.
Now, Victor, as we come bring this to a close, I think the dates that we need, according to the schedule that has been given by ODM, April 12th, we have Vihiga, Busia, then Kisumu is going to be coming on, actually from April 12th all the way to April 19th, where we're going to be having the primaries in Homa Bay as well as Migori. Is going to be quite the time.
Yes.
But now also looking at this matrix and throwing in the span into the works into the electoral law.
Right.
Yeah, there's been conversation that there talks about changing some aspects, some clauses, as well as also looking at what IBC has to say. And this is going to border on either party hopping
Yeah.
And the issue of having independent candidates. You will definitely unpack it for us as we get into the main discussion this morning on matters politics. This is just to bring to a close. In the headlines, remember, further details are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. But for now, we'll have a sneak peek into what is happening on our major roads just before we speak matters politics. So do keep it right here.